Support for this episode is provided by the Mountain Valley Spring Water. Bottled continuously since 1871 in Hot Springs, Arkansas, the Mountain Valley Spring Water rises naturally to the surface of the earth where it is bottled untouched to this day. Mountain Valley prides themselves on truth, integrity, and clean, pure water. They bottle in glass to preserve quality and taste and also proudly offer recyclable, green plastic bottles as a convenient on-the-go alternative. There's never been a better time than now to get back to your source. So head over to mountainvalleyspring.com to find your local retailer or set up delivery to your home or office today.
Is that better?
Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Junkies, where everyone gets to voice an opinion, even if it sucks. I'm your host, Steve, and joining me this week is my co-host, Natural State Sports content writer extraordinaire, Justin, along with this week's special guest, Natural State Sports newest content writer, Mr. Hogball Blog himself, Jackson. How's it going, fellas?
Good. Quarantine as usual.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Jackson, you look comfy over there, man. I appreciate you joining us this week.
Comfy as always, man. Just staying at home, staying in my room, writing papers. Same old, same old.
Yeah, well, that's the place to be. Justin, I'm glad that you decided to go dark there right as I hit live on the main screen. So
sorry,
it was a good start.
It's okay. I had to adjust my laptop for a minute.
All right, so everybody's social distancing. We didn't open with masks this time. Just, why should we? So we're all apart, as you can tell. We have our three screens, making sure everyone's apart from each other. Hopefully it's all coming through good, guys. Throw us some comments in there. Let us know how we're doing. Hey, make sure you share this to some groups and some pages. Share everybody that's on right now. Give us a share. Make sure everybody's got a chance to hang out and watch the show. So we're excited about episode 2. We're excited about the first week of having a special guest. Man, tell us how much you're enjoying being our newest content writer there, Jackson.
Man, it's been a lot of fun. Just always having the freedom to kind of write about anything I want to write about in regards to Arkansas sports or Arkansas basketball in particular. It's really given me an opportunity to kind of expand my portfolio a little bit, write some new stuff, grow my audience as well, and then also just have a good group of guys to work with. So I really enjoyed it so far.
Well, we enjoy having you, man. It's been good. Your stuff is great. If you've missed it, make sure you get to naturalstatesports.com and make sure you read these guys' content. And on that note, as we kind of look forward, we have a special announcement. So before we get into the topics, Jackson has come up with a nice little list. So we at Natural State Sports have decided to have a little contest and make you, the fans, the judges. So tonight, Jackson, Justin, and myself will draft a Razorback basketball all-decade team. Jackson has compiled a list of 22 of the best players to grace Bud Walton Arena in the last decade. And over the next 3 segments, we'll each draft a team of 5 players. When we're done, we'll each write an article explaining why our team is the best all-decade team of them all. We'll post that at naturalstatesports.com. This is where you, the fans, come in. We will then post the teams on all social media forums and ask you, the fans, to vote for which team you think is the best. So this is our draft board. I got too much stuff in my way here for some reason. So let's get that drafty board up. I've lost it. Look at me go. All right. So this is what we will be drafting from. I know you guys can't see that yet, so hang on. There we go. Okay, so our lineups will basically be we will have 2 guards. You have to select 2 guards, and then you can have up to 2 forwards and a center, right, Jackson? That's how we're going to work this, correct?
Yeah, so you could have kind of be a little bit of flexibility. So you could play 3 guards if you want with 1 forward and 1 center, or you could pick someone like in the guard forward position. That could be a third or a second forward as well. So you could go forwards or however you want to do it. That third spot is kind of just a hybrid, because different lineups throughout the decade have had those types of players in there.
Yeah, in Arkansas, I mean, you see the couple of bigs in the 5 spot technically that we have there, but Arkansas has not had a lot of those kind of guys. So this was the best way to lay the lineup out. So the way this is going to work is we will each draft 2 players per segment, and then the final segment we'll draft our last player, and it's going to be a snake draft format, kind of like when you, anybody does fantasy football. So
everybody does fantasy football. Come on, man.
They better. I mean, if they don't, then we may have to. We'll have to do our draft this year live on here.
It's going to happen. I've already got it set up. We're just waiting for football season to start. Don't worry.
It's happening. All right, cool. So all right. So without further ado, before we started, we did a randomizer. And shocker of all shockers, Jackson ends up being the one who gets pick number 1. So let me pull this off of here.
Of course, the new guy gets the first pick.
All right. So let me pull this off of here so whenever everybody can see our faces when we make these picks. So Jackson, number 1, where are you going? I better get something to write this down.
All right. Shouldn't be a shocker to many people. I'm going to pick Bobby Portis, number 1 overall.
Man,
shocker.
I knew it was coming. Yeah, shocker. I went ahead and crossed him off when I wrote it down.
Yeah, right? All right, let's see. So Jackson goes Portis number 1. Justin, let me get something to write here, and then myself. All right, Justin, you're up. Number 2 here.
Whew. Number 2 pick. I got to go with Michael Qualls.
Oh,
he's clutch, and I got to take him early.
He's going with the athleticism. All right.
Man, he play almost wherever you want besides down low, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree at all. All right. So
now Steve gets 2 picks.
I get
Lucky
2
devil.
back-to-back picks. That's right, I do, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Back-to-back.
So I am going to go Mason Jones.
Nice pick.
And, oh, man, this is tough. Tough. Give me, just because Jackson went big on the first one, so I know he can't go big again, I am going to grab Jalen Barford as well and hit my 2 guards.
Nice.
All right.
Not
Justin.
a bad choice.
Well, you know. All right, Justin, back to you.
Back to me. Whew, let's see what I want to do. I don't want to pick a big yet because we only got so many bigs and they're all so good. I need somebody to handle that ball. So I am going to go ahead and take up Isaiah Joe before y'all even think about him.
All right.
It gives me Qualls and Joe.
All right. So that lays it out for Jackson. There's a comment over here that keeps catching my eye, and I refuse to read it right now. So
I'm guessing it's the bottom comment that I see there.
Yeah.
You're wrong, by the way.
I refuse
it
to
will
acknowledge
happen,
that.
and it will happen on time.
Oh, man. All right, Jackson, who you got?
So now I get 2 picks?
Yep, you get back-to-back.
Oh, this.
Wait.
No,
Don't
actually,
get back to back in this round. You don't get back to back in
well,
this
he gets
round.
1 here, and then he'll open segment 2.
Yeah, you'll open number 2 with another pick.
Oh,
only
yeah,
pick
yeah.
one
That's right.
now. Only pick
That's right.
one right
Yeah.
now.
So take your
Okay,
pick
1,
now.
and then I'll make the second pick. I already know what 2 I'm getting, but I'm going to go right now Daryl Macon.
All right. Good pick.
I was kind of afraid of that too. I knew he wouldn't stay there, so I was worried. I'm not gonna lie.
And I'm gonna add this stupid comment to the screen there so you people can see the stupidity of our guy Will here. I'm not sure that I can ever agree with that. So, oh look, it's gone. It was so bad it left in 10 seconds. All right, so on to the show. As you guys know, if you watched last week, the way this works is now that we have 3, so really it's new to everybody. We're going to ask a question. Justin's going to lead us off with questions, and in somewhat of a debate, somewhat scenario here, Jackson's going to open with his response. He will have 1.5 minutes to respond with his opinion on this topic, and just whenever you're ready, Justin, rock and roll. And I get to answer this one. So, Justin, all you, man.
Let's hope you answer it right this time. Last week you answered a couple of them that just were awful wrong. It was bad.
I don't like that kind of talk, okay?
Oh, it's okay. You'll get used to it.
Okay.
Topic number 1. Musselman, the Must Bus, our new basketball coach, is once again highly active on this transfer portal. Do you like the way he is currently managing the roster for the University of Arkansas Razorbacks?
Oh, yeah, no question. I love it. And some people, I've seen some different comments on Twitter that talk about, oh, well, you're going to run off these freshmen, these highly touted freshmen, if you keep going and getting these grad transfers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my counter argument to that would be that the grad transfers typically, there's a piece written by Jeff Goodman recently. Grad transfers typically are role players. They come in, they have their whole 4 years. They're not going to take a major step forward coming from a mid-major conference up to a Power 5 or a high major conference in basketball. They're going to be role players. Jimmy Witt had to be more of a scorer more than a role player this year because we didn't have a whole lot of scorers. If the roster was more talented this year than it was, Jimmy Witt is likely more of a role player, but he filled his role and had to be more of a scorer this year. I think you're going to look at a guy like Vance Jackson. He'll have a bigger role. I think Vanover, he's a sit-out transfer. He'll have a bigger role. Outside of that, I think the transfers are mainly going to be role players. I think Jalen Tate's going to be a solid big point guard. I think he can also fill the dunk spot that Witt played last year, but I don't think he's going to be scoring a whole lot. I think you're still going to have the stereotypical four-year players or high school players that are going to be your main contributors. You're still going to have, if Isaiah Joe comes back, he's still going to be one of your leading scorers. Desi Sills, Mason Moody, Moses Moody.
You've been buzzed. You're no longer allowed to
I have been buzzed.
Don't you hate that buzzer? It just pops off right in the middle of a sentence.
I wasn't even expecting it. I wasn't even looking at the countdown. It kind of scared me.
All right, Steve, what is your rebuttal or disagreement to what Jackson said?
Okay, not to take words from last week, but I'm going to, hell yeah, I agree with what Musselman's doing right now. But I'm going to take it in a little less stat-based and more of a heartfelt opinion base here. So we got the content writer in Jackson who's going to give us the meats and potatoes here. I'm going to give you the opinion, which means absolutely nothing other than it's better than Justin's, and that's why he's not answering on this one. So my opinion is yes, absolutely, man. We have got what he's done so far is magnificent. He's been able to bring in top-level talent. He's been able to bring in top freshman-level talent. Now, I know there's some people that are freaking out right now over a couple of guys that haven't signed. I think that's all going to work itself out. I wouldn't get worried about it. But at the end of the day, what Muss has done, and we talked about this a little bit in our group the other day, is he's brought in some guys that fill some leadership voids as well. You saw a guy like Jimmy Witt come in and become a big leader this year for this team, and I think that's the most important part right now is you're getting some very high-quality freshman guys that are going to really eat up some minutes. They're going to really have a lot of. They're going to really, they're going to have a huge impact on the floor. But at the same time, you don't have a lot of great leadership. You've got a couple of guys that are going to be juniors. We don't know what's going to happen with Isaiah Joe. So what he's doing right now is building a roster that was really depleted previously, and that he really needed to really put some work into. And I think he's done a great job, and I think he's going to continue to do a great job. And I think everything's going to work out just fine.
Isaiah Joe's not leaving. That boy's not leaving. He was hurt too long to leave.
Jackson, I'd love to get your response on this, but I don't think so. My issue with Joe, and I know, so again, the NBA, they do their thing mostly on projections and what this guy's going to bring, future wise. But Joe to me seems a little brittle at times. I know he missed some time this year because of injury. He's not. I think he may need to put on a few pounds to really hit that NBA body, and so I think he comes back, but. I don't know. Again, when you're selecting on future talent, it makes it a little more difficult. But I'd love to know your thoughts on that, Jackson.
So I personally think he's going to come back, but I don't think it's as clear cut as a bunch of people think it is, because as of right now, so you look at the draft projections online at different websites, and they're not what the teams themselves are actually doing. These are writers and experts or whatever throwing out their draft projections. But if you look at different team boards and stuff, the word is that Isaiah Joe is kind of in the early second round or so, top 10 pick in the second round. And if that's the case, he may very well go. I'll say that he did have a sophomore slump, and he probably could put on a little weight. But part of the reason that he shot a lower percentage this year, he shot like 35% from three this year. He shot 41 last year, but he was more of a high volume shooter, and he was on a team with only one other 3-point threat for most of the season. Desi Sills came on late, and Adrio Bailey kind of became a 3-point shooter, but didn't shoot that much. But I think he will ultimately come back, but I don't think it's very clear cut.
Gotcha. Yeah. Again, and I wonder too. Have you paid much attention? I guess who was so Jalen Green today. I guess announced to go to play in the G League, and it looks like he's going to get paid pretty handsomely for doing so. So, is that something that you think that a guy like even Mason Jones, who I guess it sounds like is going to hire an agent and is gone? Do you think that's an option that he's looking more at? Because I mean, is he really is he going to get drafted in the first in those 2 rounds of the draft, or does he end up overseas or in a G League situation?
I mean, any professional basketball is money in your pocket, and it's more money than you're making in the NCAA. And if you're a guy like Mason Jones, you're very confident in your ability. You very much believe in yourself. You take whatever opportunity you can. So whether that's G League, making a little bit of money, or going overseas somewhere and making a little bit more. You're going to take that opportunity to try to work your way into the NBA. I mean, one of the prime examples of that is right here at home. Patrick Beverley had to leave after his sophomore year after some trouble with the essay writing or paper writing because he was going to be suspended for the entire year, his junior year, I believe. So he ended up leaving early, got drafted, bounced around to I think he was in Italy maybe. He was somewhere overseas and eventually came back, worked his way back to the NBA. Now he's one of the top defenders, one of the more well-known players in the NBA right now because of his dog mentality and all that kind of stuff. So it's very doable. And obviously that's changed a lot as far as it's happening more often than it did when Beverly did it. So I think that's definitely an option.
Well, we hope that we can get both of them back. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So, going through some of the comments here, Tristan Haynes from Facebook says, Joe needs the combine. That's the main reason he won't get drafted. He's an amazing shooter, has the link to be a good defender. But the question is his athleticism a liability? Looking at his film, he doesn't have NBA-level athleticism. Let me scroll that up some. He needs the combine to impress them in a few drills so they know exactly what they get. His injuries also make him more of a wild card. I do agree with the combine piece of that for sure.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So I think we've talked about this with a guy, on the football draft with a guy like McTelvin Agim who may be benefiting from the fact that they had a combine and now he's interviewing well. Well, Joe not having that opportunity potentially, I think that could definitely hurt him. What do you think, Jackson?
Yes and no. I mean, it's hard to say with Joe because if you look at a guy like Mason Jones, who is not very athletic, obviously we all know the story. Mason Jones, 270 pounds, 205 pounds, whatever. He's only gained so much athleticism, though, so a combine could have hurt somebody like a Mason Jones, who is still not very athletic, who plays below the rim. For a guy like Isaiah Joe, I think a combine setting would help and hurt someone like Isaiah Joe. He is athletic, but I don't think his strength would test very well. I don't know, but I think it would help him more than it would hurt him.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's gonna do it for us here with topic 1. Guys, hang with us as we hit the break here. We're going to throw a little ad. Just a reminder before we go to the break. Guys, if you know of a local business that is struggling right now thanks to this COVID-19 crud and they need some free advertising, our podcast and shows average well over 3,000 to 4,000 views and listens a week. So make sure you guys, if you have somebody, somebody, you are a business owner, and you would like for us to throw some ads up and give you guys some free advertising, let us know. Hit us up in the comments or direct messages on any of these platforms that you're watching on. We'd love to help you out. We'll be right back.
What happens when you do not change your oil? Change your oil, folks.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you hanging out with us through the quick little break there. All right, so we're going to jump into it real quick here. We got our second round of the draft. When we left it, Jackson was ready to rock and roll with his third pick. So, again, we're going to get 2 picks this time, and then we'll finish this thing up in the final segment. So don't go anywhere. Hang out with us. Make sure you watch the whole thing. And here we go. Jackson, that much-awaited third pick, who you got?
Drum roll, please. I'm going to go with Marshawn Powell.
Oh. All right. I like it.
I might have took a little bit of my spunk away there.
All right. Next up, Justin, who you got?
All right, so I got Joe, I got Qualls. I need to go ahead and give me Anton Beard. I was really excited watching him play with Mike Anderson, and I think him and Joe up top is going to be outstanding.
Okay, all right. I guess that leaves me. I am going Mr. Defense here. I'm going to go Adriel Bailey with the first one I get here. And let's see. Wait, I got another one, don't I?
Oh yeah, you go back to back.
Yeah, I go back to back.
You weren't ready, were you?
Give me Gafford.
Dang.
All right.
I'm surprised he stayed on the board that late, honestly. I thought that all the bigs were just going to be first picks.
Well, so honestly, I thought about that, but then when you went big on the very first one, I was like, well, he can't go big again, so Gafford's going to kind of
only get one big
for a little bit.
Yeah.
But you took my next pick. Thanks.
Hey, I don't think Andy, based on that comment there, agreed with your pick, Justin. I'm thinking that's where he's going. I mean, Andy loves Anton Beard, so you know.
You don't think Anton Beard and Isaiah Joe is not going to? I mean, Isaiah Joe's your shooting guard and Anton Beard's your point guard.
Hey man, you're the one that's got to defend that team. Do it in your.
Don't worry.
Do it in your.
My team's going to win. I've won every contest we've had with Nashville State Sports so far. It's not going to stop now. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's going to come to an end right now.
Oh, it's not going to come to an end, boy. Just because you're new, don't mean people are going to like you better.
I think my players are better though.
We will see. The people will tell.
Oh man, let's see. Hang on, before Justin gets his pick. Money beer here. I'll put this up on there. That deserves to go up on the broadcast.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, give us your fourth pick, man. Give us your fourth pick.
Oh, Lord. People are going to hate me until I win this in the end. And then y'all are going to like me so much.
Uh-oh.
Don't worry. I'm going to go ahead and go another Mike Anderson boy, Moses Kingsley.
All right. And, I spelled that terribly wrong. Let's try that better. All right, Kingsley. All right. Jackson, your final pick of this segment. Or this round.
Y'all are really making this too easy for me to win now.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, but
That's why you're the basketball writer. You really should win this. So
yeah, if you don't win this and you let me win again, it's going to look real bad on everybody now.
let's just – I already got Bobby Portis. We're recapping. I already got Bobby Portis. I already got Marshawn Powell. I already got Daryl Macon.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go with Dusty Hannes.
Oh, sharp shooting it. Oh.
So he wants the boy in the corner then.
That's right. Hey, you can't be
Hey,
bad now.
Dusty can drive the ball too now.
Yes, he can. He has learned a lot, but we're talking in the 90s. He wasn't not 90s.
In
We're
the
talking
90s.
Sorry.
What do you think we are?
Last decade. I forget what year it is now. My bad. But last decade, he wasn't a driver when he was at Arkansas.
He was a driver his senior year, especially. Yeah, he averaged like 17 points a game when it was he and Bell and
He was
Kingsley.
trying to make that NBA money, which he didn't get right off the bat, which was wrong.
Hey, he's getting his opportunity now. So
If they ever play again, he might.
Yeah, right. All right, on to topic 2. So this time I'm going to ask the question, and you guys get to fight this one out. But I have my thoughts on this one. So
I want to hear your thoughts too. So we're gonna have to squeeze you in at the end real quick there, because I do want to hear your thoughts.
Well, that's what the that's what the discussion time at the end is for. So, all right. So our second topic of the night. Most betting sites have put Arkansas football at an over-under of 3.5 for wins next season. Assuming Will is completely wrong, as he usually is, where are you going with this? and I guess who? Oh, wait, we're going to ask Justin this first. So where are you going? Where are you taking, the over or the under, Justin, and why?
I am taking the over, of course. And the reasoning why is because, first of all, your quarterback position is a lot better than it's been in numerous years. Okay. Brett Bielema, his best quarterback he had were the Allen brothers. You know, that was the best thing that he had going for him in quarterback. You now have a transfer from Florida, Felipe Franks, who has proven himself already in Florida that he can win big games, he can win the games, he can lead a team. You'll have KJ behind him. You have freshmen. You have a running back who's going to come back and get his 1,000 yards. I'm predicting probably about 1,300 yards this season. Because I'm sorry, it's going to be like watching McFadden run down the road again with number 5 on his chest. You're going to see Arkansas extremely compete. I give them at least 6 wins next year.
Whew.
They have a coach that has changed the whole aspect of everything. Thank you. Somebody interrupt me. Okay, Sam Pittman is coming in, and he is bringing Arkansas back to what Arkansas was with Houston Nutt, Bobby Petrino, before the Bielema and Chad Morris breakdowns that destroyed our football program. He's even in this time of you cannot go face-to-face with anybody. If you look at Twitter or you follow anything involving Razorback sports, there's signees coming in right and left. People are loving him. He's going to fix the offensive line. Odom is going to fix that defense. They're going to get at least 6 to 8 wins.
You're lucky I gave you that extra 10 seconds because I forgot to put the timer up.
I know you forgot to put it up there, so I made sure to milk it. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. All right, Jackson, what you got?
Man, I'm going to take the over, but I gotta say that's a little lofty expectations there to go from 2-10 back-to-back years to winning 6 to 8 games right off the bat with the second toughest schedule in the country. That's not number 2 in the country on strength of schedule. You have, I mean, what pieces did you add on defense? You got Draper coming in from Oklahoma, but he hasn't proven anything. You have Jerry Jacobs at DB and a whole bunch of young players. You signed a really good staff. You hired a really good staff. Odom and Bryles probably one of the best offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator duos in the country. And I'm not downplaying anything. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody or anything, but Pittman's never coached a game at the Division I level, let alone in the SEC. We went 2-10 back-to-back seasons. We have a lot of returning pieces on offense. Sure, Boyd's going to be great. He'll be fine. Still not sold. Franks, he's better than what we had, but still not 100% sold on him. Defense still has a lot of question marks, a lot of unproven pieces, a lot of young pieces. And we're playing against SEC competition. I'm going to say the over because the line is at 3.5, and I'm going to say 4.
Okay. All right. Look, he gets it in under the timer there too. So.
You get it under the timer, just straight dissing them though. Good Lord.
He gets the applause since he got it in under the timer. Plus, I was just told that the air horn is really loud on the live side of this. So
that's what we want, though. That's what I mean. I love the air horn.
Yeah.
The air horns, yeah, it needs to stay.
Well, maybe I can quiet it down a little bit. There's a way to set it
down. Now, looking at these comments, oof.
Yeah. So okay. So let me give my opinion. Hey. Let me give my opinion here real quick. I'm taking the under actually. And
you take what? Wait, say it again.
Yeah, I'm taking the under, and here's the reason why. One, I thought that this team would have a tough time getting to 4 or 5 wins anyway. I mean, and 4 may be their ceiling. I thought if you get to 5 or 6, you better build a statue for Sam Pittman with this schedule. So when you look at the situation, you look what they have coming up. Here's my thing. No spring practice. That can't be understated how tough that's going to be on this program. This football team will have some very tough times because of the fact they've had no spring practice. Add to that, teams that they're going to play next year had at least a little bit of spring practice before this thing got shut down. So from that perspective alone, that puts them behind. I'm with Jackson as well. I'm not sold on Franks. I think he's an upgrade from what we had on campus, absolutely. More importantly, Kendall Briles is an upgrade from what we had on campus. Sam Pittman is an upgrade from what we had on campus. Those things tell me, okay, sure, this team could potentially get to the 4 or 5 win range. But, man, without any chance to install, without any opportunity to do anything like that, brand new coaching staff, a lot of new players, I don't know, man. That concerns me, and I've got to take the under on that one.
I will say, though, talking about the install, I thought it was really funny how in an interview a reporter asked Art Briles how long it would take to install his offense. He goes, well, or something to the effect of, will they be ready to play in this offense by opening weekend? He goes, well, they better be. Chad Moore's sitting here with the 20% install by week 3.
Yeah.
20%. He should have been fired right then and there the moment he said that. Well, we got about 20% of the offense installed. Now, here's my defense on this, guys. Do you not think, I mean, I don't know if y'all followed them like I followed the football, but there's not one player on that team that is not at home literally busting their ass to make sure they're in prime physical shape to get this done. So if they're working that hard, hang on, let me finish. If they're working that hard, do you not think they don't have a playbook that they're studying? Do you not think Frank's being in his, 4th, 5th year playing SEC ball is not going through that playbook every day like it is his Bible? And Sam Pittman, he will fix that offensive line. We had good players. We just had severely crappy coaching.
So I don't disagree with you in that they're at home working out, that they're doing everything that's being sent to them. But again, I mean, anybody that's played any level of athletics knows there's a big difference when coach is in front of you telling you what to do versus you at home in front of a Zoom video doing what they're telling you to do and going over plays. So now these guys work. That's what they do. But there's a lot to be said about install time when these guys are able to come together and to put these pieces in. Now, to the point that you made a minute ago about Kendall Briles, we had Art Briles on the podcast back a couple months ago. And
Great podcast, by the way.
Thanks. We asked him the same question. And he said, Kendall's going to do what he's got to do to build this offense around what's there in front of him. And so, there's not going to be, because we asked that question, is this something where there's going to be 30% of the offense installed by the first of next year? And he said, no, I mean, that's not how this operates. These guys are going to know what to do. Kendall's just going to come in and fine tune things. So I think from that aspect, sure, but I still think that losing spring and a lot of summer work,
But see, everybody lost it. And how many people in the SEC right now are going through a new coordinator, a new quarterback? LSU lost 90% of the team that got them the championship. So the boot will be a battle again.
Here's my argument to all that, though, and to one of the points you made earlier. You talk about how all the players on our team, on the Razorbacks there, even though they don't have workouts with coaches or anything, they're at home working and busting their ass. Who's to say every other team in the country isn't doing that too? Right. I mean, we're playing the SEC, one of the Power 5 conferences. I mean, every other team is going to be saying the same thing. All their players are going to be working because they all want to be prepared when workouts do continue. So I don't think that's something you can say like, oh, Arkansas is working and no one else is. So we're going to be good.
No, I'm not going to say they're doing that. But after you come to a team and the ones that are coming from this team that went 2-10, you're going to be busting your ass a little bit extra because you went 2-10 for 2 straight years.
Yeah.
That can't happen the third year. That ruins everything that you have. And for a majority of these kids that chose Arkansas to be a Razorback, it's just a little more drive. And the head coach we have, I hate to make this comparison, he's like the Ed Orgeron for Arkansas. He came in and immediately changed everybody's thought process aspect. All of a sudden it was, oh crap, that's oh crap, this is going to change everything. And even his recruiting, he's doing an outstanding job stuck at the house not being able to do things.
Yeah. And
I'm just saying, I have faith in Sam Pittman. I'm a Razorback fan and I'm biased. I thought last year we would win 7 or 8 games.
We should have.
But no, not with him. We were never going to with him. After that first year of 2-10, you should have fired his ass right then and there. There was no bringing him back for a second year. And 2 years into it, you ain't even got 50% of your offense installed. Get your ass down to Auburn. I don't want you no more.
And the backup quarterback who didn't prepare was the one that was always playing better because he didn't have to overthink the install.
That's right. Until he got put on the field and then he as a starter and then he fell apart. So after a week of install and trying to figure it out.
Oh yeah, no, it's like Nick Starkle came in behind Ben Hicks, completely unprepared, played practice as a second stringer. Looked great. Like, all right, we're going to start you next week. Played terrible.
I'm looking at these comments, man, and Tristan is cracking me up here.
Yeah, so I want to get into a few of these comments real quick. So,
Andy don't agree with me. I saw that. Not get 1,300. He got 1,000 last year with a crappy offensive line. You telling me with the best O-line coach in the country, he ain't gonna get 1,300?
Yeah,
come on, man.
I got to disagree a bit there. This offensive line will be better. I think he's got a shot to get there for sure. Tristan Haynes, here, let me put this one up there. I may have to put this one up there twice, guys, because it's kind of long. But Tristan said, I'd say under. The main reason is we have new coaches, our team is still young, and we have to put the pieces together. So the coronavirus is killing us. We need more time to put it together. We also have a tough schedule. I want to have them at 4 to 5, but next year is our year. I'm assuming we mean the following year. So, and of course, Tristan completely agrees with me, so we're on the same page. So I'm not going to go back and read that comment about Jackson having the best team and he's going to win the whole thing from Tristan because we don't need that.
Tristan's getting awfully one-sided here.
Most important part is right there. Tristan completely agrees with me because that popped up. So y'all just
of course, because you have control of
it. This is why we don't let Will produce this because he no telling what he'd do. So Tristan also says exactly everyone lost it. So how will we have jumped ahead with all this change? And my man in the middle is very optimistic. Makes me laugh, but I kind of love it. So
you kind of love it, but just wait until we go to that bowl game. Y'all ain't gonna be talking crap no more.
Oh, and Lauren,
just build Sam Pittman a statue if that happens. I'm saying seriously.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, you need to. God bless America. And no place else. I need you to go up one so me and Andy can go ahead and lock down this bet.
There you go. That's for you, Justin. What's
the bet? Andy,
hey, Christopher Shaw. Christopher Shaw from Fort Benning, Georgia. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely,
What's up,
man. Christopher, thanks for joining us and appreciate your service.
Fort Benning, Georgia. How's Fort Benning going for you today, man?
Woo, Christopher's on the 6 and 6 bus, man. He's on the statue for Pittman bus for sure.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to be Sam Pittman Field if he comes out and goes 6 and 6. You might as well rename it just like the basketball court for Nolan. You come out and fix this, we're going to do it good.
That might be the best comment yet.
Whoever was able to spend the least amount of time.
Whoever spent the least amount of time with Chad did the best. 100% agree.
Dude, finish it without laughing. Yes, that is true. Because he brought in his quarterback to lead his offense, and it was garbage.
That's my brother. Hats off to him.
Yeah, good comment.
Though,
I like it. Christopher Saul 7 and 5, and he says Fort Benning blows. So
Fort Benning's always blown, dude. Trust me, I've been there. Yeah, it's not a fun place. Get out while you still can.
All right, Nick. We don't need any more Jackson fan guys here. Let's. I
mean, just because you're related doesn't mean you got to ride his bus like that. Okay. Okay. Don't worry. The article will prove him wrong.
All right, man. Well, that'll do it. We'll be back. I'm going to cut you. We're gonna move on to the next segment. Hang out with us here. We'll be right back after this ad.
Be on my way. I need space to get the Get out my way, I need space, I'm about to take off. Get out my way.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Make sure that you guys, if you have any dents, dings, scratches, or busted windshields, need a bed liner, give Mike at Arkansas Car Clinic a call. One other piece of news one other little plug I want to throw out there. The guys over at, and I don't want to mess this name up because you guys are going to want to be able to find this. So let me pull this up real quick before I got too many comments. Hang on, we'll get back to the draft. I promise. I promise. Here we go. Okay, so guys, if you are a sports memorabilia person, the guys over at LFG's The Brig Facebook group has let us play this, and I hope some of you guys are actually watching. If you are, give us a shout out in the comments over on the LFG page. But LFG's The Brig, and I would say what the LFG stands for, but I think you can get it. Sports cards and memorabilia. Jump over there, man. They have some pretty awesome auctions and peer-to-peer type auctions for sports cards. A lot of stuff, some reveals, some opens. Really cool site. I've probably spent way too much money over there in the last week. So quarantine is. I'm probably going to spend my whole $1,200 over there. So guys, jump over there and check out those sites. If you don't know, give me a shout after we're done, and I'll add you to the group. So good group, good folks. A lot of fun. All right, let's get into round 3 of this draft.
One more pick apiece.
One more pick apiece. And
I'm on the clock, correct?
You are on the clock.
Sir.
Okay, so my final pick is going to be one of those kind of tweener type guys. I want to get Cody Clark.
I like that pick too.
Yeah, I do like that pick. I was looking at that too. Thanks, man. That's like the third time y'all just screwed me. I should have made sure I was on the first or last. It's okay.
All right, Justin, you're up. Your last pick.
This last one's a tough one because we got so many left on this board here.
Go for Manny Watkins.
That's what I was really leaning towards. That's what I was really sitting there staring at the whole time. So yeah, I will go ahead and take our basketball guru's advice there and go ahead and go with Manny Watkins.
You're gonna take the guy that's competing against you just so he can beat you.
No. In the end, he knows his basketball, and I think his first comment that comes out of his mouth is probably the truth.
Yeah, probably.
He's done with picks anyway.
True.
That wasn't meant to be taken seriously, but you can go ahead and pick him if you want.
Don't worry.
Oh, man. All right.
I did my research before. Like I said, I was staring at him. It was either going to go through him or Kai Madden. I just don't see Kai Madden putting in what I want in my offense.
All right. So I'm going to go with Mr. Irrelevant as the final pick here, but not irrelevant in anybody's minds. I'm going to go Rodney Clark because nobody took that pick, right? You got Cody.
Yeah, I got Cody. You can take Rodney.
So I'm going to take Rodney just because I want the sharpshooter for the fun of it. So.
Yeah.
All right.
The article will tell it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Nick's having too much fun. I think this will probably be a runaway. But you know what? All you got to do is get on and vote. We'll have this set up later next week. So may actually try to announce it here on the show, or may just have a special live next week on the page. So just pay attention, keep up with us, and we'll get the contest out. And we'll even have some stuff for winners and losers. I think we'll stay away from the egg overhead stuff. But
you didn't like that very much, did you?
Hey, I didn't mind it. I wore it like a champ. So yeah. Hey, Nick liked my pick with Rott though, so I'll take it. He may be screwing with me, but
he's been screwing with everybody. Don't worry.
No. Nick thought Rodney was a good pick.
Yeah, I like the.
Yeah, he was trying to convince me to take Rodney earlier.
Well, I'll take it. I like that pick. The sharpshooter, man. I got some. I feel like I got some defense there. I got the heart and soul with Mason Jones. So we'll just have to wait and see what everybody can write up. So all right. So our final question. We're all going to participate. Do what?
I said Steve going against 2 writers.
We'll see. You know why we did that, right? Because we had to have our 2 best content writers go against the best host on the platform.
Oh.
Crickets. Who's got the crickets? Oh man, that hurts. That hurts me right here, you guys. Right here. That's why no one's listening to Inside the Natural State and Around the Diamond. I know everybody listens to Around the Diamond for Kevin, so I'm not fooling myself there. All right. So Topic number 3. Oh, boy, we got comments coming. We'll like that one. Okay, I'll get to those in a minute. Anyway, on we go. So, topic 3. Now, I think this is an interesting topic, so we're all three going to hit on it. I'll ask. Justin, I'll let you answer first, and then we'll let Jackson answer. We'll just all kind of round robin this one. So, all right. So, topic 3. We're starting to see college football programs cutting coaches' salaries in conferences asking the NCAA to relax division requirements. Do you guys think that this pandemic will speed up the process of the Power Five splitting into its own quote-unquote division outside of the typical NCAA? Justin, I'll start with you.
That's a very tough question, I will say, because yes, I see it slowly splitting them, mainly because of the money spent and the time spent. Now, let's put it in another perspective. University of Arkansas has so much more money than, let's say, Arkansas Tech or UAPB, just based on what they bring into it, how their following is to it, what they're paying their coaches, what players get in scholarships. So the fact that they want to, the Power Fives always wanted to split it, mainly because people don't like, like Alabama, LSU playing some, hanky-pank school and the thing. They want to see everybody play another Power Five conference as their, outside of conference opponent. So I see it helping. But in the end, I don't see the NCAA ruling it any different than they do right now because, for one, the NCAA hasn't changed anything in so long anyway, and they're so stuck on what they got that I don't see them changing it. The fact of this pandemic, it will give them a good idea or judgment towards it to get what the Power Five conferences want is to be separated from the others. But in the end, I truly don't see it changing anything. I don't see NCAA changing what they're doing. They should, but they're not going to.
You got a bicycle.
What was that, a horn?
What is the bicycle?
I was not ready for the bike horn at the end there. Changing up on me.
I'm trying.
That sounded too happy.
I'm trying all kinds of different things. So
let's go back to the obnoxious horn, man. That was like our thing. Okay?
You didn't like that one?
I honestly love the obnoxious horn. It was loud to everybody else, but they know what you're watching. Oh, you're watching Sports Junkies, aren't you?
That's right. I think we'll stick with that. We'll figure out a way to maybe quiet it down a hair. I don't know. All right, Jackson, what say you?
So I don't think. No, let me start with what I think it will do. I think that it will kind of make some of the smaller schools, dissolve different programs, and depending on how small of a school or how much revenue that school brings in, it could end up dissolving different football, basketball programs and stuff, which is a lot less likely. But I have a hard time seeing the Power Five schools completely splitting and forming their own division in college sports, especially college football. I just think there are too many universities, even in smaller states or in smaller communities, in smaller conferences, who mean enough to their community where they still bring in a decent amount of money through advertising, through being successful. Like you have those higher level mid majors, like a Boise State, who's always selling out their stadium, who's always making bowl games, BCS bowl games, and all this kind of stuff. So I don't think it would ever just completely separate the Power Five from the rest of the NCAA, but I think it would just dissolve different programs.
He gets the applause because he finished early
Again, he's under the dang time. I don't see.
Man, I say what I need to say, and then I just let it in.
This must be short-winded, man. I hope it's not a short article about your basketball team, though.
Oh, it won't be.
So next time we have Jackson on, we know to give him the 1 minute timer, not the minute and a half. All right. So my opinion on this is I do think it's going to take us, if not there, I think it's going to take us extremely close. So when you look at some of the reports that have come out as of recently, I think it was Wake Forest We've already had some schools that are dropping other programs such as soccer. I believe it was Wake Forest that came out in the last couple of days, and their coaching staffs have all agreed to take pay cuts. Now, the question,
10%.
Yeah, 10%. Which the question that, and I didn't dig into that, is that 10% of his full pay, which is supplemented mostly by boosters, or is that what the university's paying him, which is usually just a few $100,000. So I don't know, but either way, you've got coaches at Power 5 programs that are taking pay cuts. You have some coaches that are talking about sports being eliminated altogether. Some sports have been. I think it was earlier this week a letter from commissioners of the American Athletic, Mountain West, Mid-American, Sun Belt, Conference USA, all sent letters asking for relief on basically for waivers on how many fans they have to have at games, on all the different things that will keep them as a Division I team. So with that coming into play already, the amount of money, I know that, so Kendall Rogers put a tweet out, said that if there's no football, it's more likely that Division I baseball turns into Division I football, where you have 300 teams in baseball, you're going to drop to more like 100 and 130 in football. And if we see something like that happen, I think,
Finish.
But yeah,
You're in the middle sentence. Finish.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I think that when you start to see the way the money's moving around, the Power 5 can rely on money. So, like you said, a program like Arkansas, a program like LSU, Alabama, of course, Ohio State, those kind of programs aren't going to be hurt by this. And so, oh boy, I got to stop looking at these comments. And so, for me, the money's going to be there for the Power 5, which is going to allow the Power 5 to continue to grow. It's going to allow the Power 5 to stay somewhat stable through this. Now, I think all bets are off if football goes away this spring or this fall. If you lose football this fall,
I just don't see football going. Football will play. They will play without nobody in the stands, no fans, no cheerleaders. No band. They will play football come late August, whenever it officially starts.
Yeah.
The NFL draft is going to happen next week. So that gives football a chance. Now, with basketball not wanting to do nothing, that would hurt something down the road. But I just don't see. Football is 99% of these conferences money makers, 99% of their things. I don't see them giving that up. They gave up March Madness, which hurt everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, from a small, little private school on the side that was going for a bid winning their conference to the, major Duke, North Carolina that were going to be in there no matter what. That hurt them.
Yeah.
Now, overall, financially, these universities cannot go without playing football because they're paying for these scholarships regardless. So you're telling me you're going to pay for a kid a full paid scholarship to go to classes online and not play football and then possibly still jump to a draft next year? It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I hope we have football. Jackson, what's your take? You think, this is off topic a little bit, but do you think we'll have football?
That's a loaded question because I just don't think anybody really knows at this point, honestly. We all want to have football, and everybody wants to say, oh, you can play football with no fans. It completely changes the environment. It completely changes the game. Even if you normally watch games at home, it's not going to be the same environment to go watch and just have like a spring game atmosphere, even less than a spring game atmosphere. It'd essentially be a practice that you're keeping score. I just don't think anybody really knows right now. We can hope as much as we want, but until that day comes, we just don't know. And I'm leaning toward the side and not really thinking that we will. Not on time. I'm not saying that we just won't have a season. We might have a shortened season. I just don't see it starting right on time.
Well, yeah, I don't see it being shortened because the schedule's already made. But I do agree with your point of it might be pushed. We may not start till September, October, and they just push the national championship to February, March. It's already drawn out so much anyway. The teams really need 4 or 5 weeks before a bowl game to go play.
Yeah, you could condense a lot of that.
You don't need that much time anyway. You just shorten that down so you get like a 2-week span. And then jump right into the playoffs and your bowl games and stuff. It's just they're just drawing it out too much. You're giving teams too long anyway to be able to play, but you can't go without football this year.
I agree. I've seen some of the stuff out there about pushing football potentially to spring of 2021. I think a lot of it's going to come down to what happens. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying anything that's groundbreaking here, but I think it's obviously going to come down to a lot to what happens over the next 30 days. Once we get into May, I saw the day where I think Jacksonville's going to start opening some beaches back up. So I think as we start to see life return slowly to some sort of normal, if we don't start seeing numbers of this stuff, rising and going crazy again, then I think, then you can start thinking about summer workouts and some sort of abbreviated spring camp before fall camp, even if it's a summer camp. So I
may not even see summer camp happening, though. I mean, it may just be a brief fall camp and hop right into it.
Well, I don't think there's any way possible that the Power Five is going to, or that football coaches in general are going to agree to give up a fall when they didn't have a spring. So
they may not have a choice.
Well,
I think the NCAA does not really care what coaches think. They do what they do to make their money, and they're going to go with it. And they lost money on the March Madness. So I hate to say it, but my original thought is they're going to throw these poor football coaches into, hey, you got 30 days to get your stuff going, and we're going to try to start on time if everything leads to that option. But even if it's delayed a little bit, they're not going to get. None of these teams will get the proper time they need to figure things out. So those first few games are going to tell a whole lot.
Yeah. I agree with that. We'll see what happens. Jackson, you got anything else on that?
Nah.
All right, let's jump into a couple of these comments before we finish things up. Tristan says, I see it starting in the spring.
Good press the whole time, by the way.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it. He said, agree, it means too much for them to go without football. Christopher Saul says, if no football rumor at NCAA is pushed to start of 2021. And he says he thinks, of course, May, June will be the months of decisions. And I would definitely agree with that. So, man, this was fun. Jackson, I appreciate you joining us for episode 2. Do us a favor, man. Tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter. They know how to find you on the website, obviously, at naturalstatesports.com. But let us know where we can find you at on Twitter.
Yeah, so if you want to go on Twitter, follow me, or just look at any of my tweets talking about mainly Razorback basketball, it's at HawgBallBlog, HAWG Ball Blog. Fairly straightforward. Don't want to trademark the Razorback, so can't spell hog right.
That's right. Justin, tell us where to find you on social media, man.
Social media, just Twitter. I'm not giving out Facebook. I don't need all that. You can find me. You know my name, Justin, so you can find me on Facebook. But Twitter is Justin_NSS.
And I am Steve_NSS on Twitter as well. You could probably find me on any of these platforms as well if you just search the name. So couple things here. We've got a few more comments I wanted to jump on. So Nick,
yeah, we got to give Nick some credit. He's been with us the whole time too.
That's right. So, and Nick asked for something a minute ago, so I'm going to do that too. Nick Collier says, you have to give teams and players time to get in shape to be physically ready to play. Can't just throw them out there after 1 or 2 weeks and say go play. Too big of a risk of injury at all levels. I agree with that.
Oh, I agree completely. I just don't know if the NCAA will agree when their pocketbooks start getting hurt from losing all this money from no College World Series, no March Madness.
Their pocketbooks might be hurt worse by a big lawsuit, though. If you have widespread injuries and stuff because they threw out players too soon, you can have a massive lawsuit, class action lawsuit type stuff, or you could just have players trying to go straight to the NFL like they do in college basketball.
Yep, and I agree with that. There's a lot of liability there.
There's a lot of liability, but I just hope the NCAA does the right thing and plans it accordingly.
Yeah. All right. Tristan says, loves the show. What are the times and days for the videos? So we go live every Thursday right here on Natural State Sports at 7:30. Make sure you don't miss tomorrow's show as well, Natural State Sports Live with Zach and Andy. They go live at 7:30 as well. A few other house cleaning notes here just to make sure you jump on. Don't forget to like and subscribe the podcast Inside the Natural State. That's
great podcast.
Andy and I come to you every week, usually out on Monday or Tuesday. So make sure you subscribe to that. And then also, big news coming next week on the Around the Diamond podcast. You're not going to want to miss next week's show. That's all I'm going to say. Our next week's podcast. So probably won't be a live pod. You'll have to wait for it to come out on the podcast platform. So make sure you subscribe. Guys, leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know what you think, and make sure that you've got those live notifications. Yep, 8:30 Eastern, Chris. Make sure you've got those live notifications for Natural State Sports, and so that you can get our live shows. One last thing, because Nick asked for this. These are the teams. Now, I'm going to put these out in a graphic form later, so they'll be on the page. So just make sure you're following Natural State Sports or following one of us on Twitter, and you'll find it. So Jackson went Bobby Portis, Daryl Macon, Marshawn Powell, Dusty Hannas, Cody Clark. Woo.
It's a massive
Easy dub. Easy dub.
Easy dub. He's still talking, man. He's still talking. All right. And then, hang on, let me get this. Okay, and then Justin took Michael Qualls, Isaiah Joe, Anton Beard, Moses Kingsley, and Manny Watkins.
Oh, it's going to be an upset, baby. Be ready, Jackson.
And then I took Mason Jones, Jalen Barford, Adriel Bailey, Dan Gafford, and the one and only Rodney Clark. So,
yeah, I hate to give you that third loss of all of our competitions, but it's okay, Steve. That's why you're on a podcast.
That's right. Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun. I appreciate it. Until next week, make sure you have some fun, wash your hands, wear those masks, and stay 6 feet away from each other.
Just stay inside if you can. Don't leave the house unless you got to. It'll all pass. Just give it time, guys.
That's right. Appreciate you joining us, Jackson.
Thanks for having me.